Mm. Okay, so good morning, Pare.
Kia ora. Good morning.
Morning. It's a real pleasure to be able to be here with you today. And I know that you're speaking today on behalf of yourself and your sister, Erin Lewis. And I'm going to, I'd love to actually ask you just to introduce yourself in terms of particularly the connection that you have with Erin, and what has brought you together, and what is your mission, what the mission is that you're sharing, because it's really beautiful work that you're doing together in New Zealand.
Kia ora, tēnā koutou. My name is Parehuia Mafi. I come from many of the tribal nations of this country, Aotearoa, New Zealand, and I currently live within my tribal nation of Whakatohea. We are a seafaring coastal tribal peoples, but we are closely connected to another one of my sovereign tribes as well. We are all nations within a nation of Tūhoi, which is a rainforest. We are forest people, and so that is a little bit about who I am and where I come from and where I belong. And so the roots of who I am and where I come from and my family go very deep into Mother Earth here. And so my commitment to creating that nourishing space and place and system in my country, with my co-founder, my sister Erin Lewis, is what brings me here today. I'm here to share what we're doing and how we're creating a nourishing system for people and our peoples to place their roots and feel that going deep into Mama, into Pachamama, into Mother Earth, reaching high to Sky Father.
Beautiful, thank you. We were talking before, and Erin and I have met a couple of times at conferences in Sydney, and of course you were there in 2018 with your tribe, and it was so beautiful to experience what you brought to the conference. Unfortunately, I didn't get to meet you personally then, so it's a real joy to meet you this morning. The workshop title is Belonging, and the question is, where do I belong? And of course this whole conference is really around that. And some of what we were talking about was the difference between how, what is happening in Australia and what is happening in New Zealand. And I think, even though we didn't use the word, there seems to me to be much more embracing and so much more respect in New Zealand, at least at this point in time. So what is it that what is it that you're bringing to the workshop? What is it that people can be expecting to experience and to have moving forward as a result of coming to the workshop and engaging with you in the work that you're doing?
You'll be seeing a treaty partnership, a treaty partnership in action, and that is Erin, who is a Pākehā woman, whose roots will go through to Ireland. And you'll see myself, an Indigenous woman of this land, work together with the world. And the world is always present in the spaces we create. And I know that what we bring what we bring from our places of belonging are shared and flow through the places and spaces and circles we create and weave. And so I'm called to that. If that calls to me, my ancestors, I greet my ancestors consciously, deliberately. That is our way. And if other ancestors show themselves in circle to be seen, we see them and we greet them and we cry with them, we sing with them. Oh, it's very simple. We take ourselves out of the space and allow all of that to flow through and to weave into a new narrative. I love. Thank you. We weave into whatever it wants to create. And so sometimes that for me is must be expressed with the practices and rituals that are in my grandmothers and my grandfathers are my arms and my legs. And so often they will speak in this space. And Sky Father and Sky Mother and the practices that I'm, as a woman, a Native woman here, I am the law keeper of those rituals here in this country. And if it is appropriate and if it is called and felt, those are shared in circle. I hope that's an answer to your question.
Oh, it's a beautiful, it's a beautiful answer. And, you know, I recall many years ago myself when I first, you know, learned about, you know, Hawaiian huna and how the relationship that the Hawaiians have with their ancestors. And that always stayed with me. And I think that, you know, particularly when we do constellation work, we talk all the time about our ancestors, but how much do we connect with them? How empowered are we by that association, and how much do we hear their messages? So I think that's really beautiful what you're making available for people to actually connect with. Yeah.
And that's why I do this work as well. It's the safest container I've found because of colonization, because of war. These practices were decimated, they were hidden, and that is why I sit here and my tribe sits here and give thanks to Grandfather Bert and my mother, who is now in spirit, a grandmother, traveled and found him, you know, was called to him. And I acknowledge her as a constellator.
Yes.
Bring that gift back here to Aotearoa. And it was a restoration, we knew, of something that had been hidden and lost due to war. And so with our, it felt like a coming back together. And so Erin and I hold that. It's a coming back together of a wholeness. It is a wholeness. The practice with the spirit and is held there safely, beautifully. And so all things can be seen. And where do I belong? And what is the space? Well, it is not colonizing. And that is why this work sings to our people and it's healing our nation.
How long have you and Erin been working together, may I ask?
We will be, goodness, 2018, 19, 2021. So we've come together, our partnership and our formed in 2018. However, my mother and her paths and our paths crossed in about 2010, I believe. Through training. So, you know, I am a second generation constellator. My mum started this journey. I believe she may have been the first Māori woman, Indigenous woman of this land to practice. And she did that from 2010 onwards. And it was in alignment with Erin's journey as well. She has practiced across the nation as well.
Yes, yeah.
And the world.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful work that you're doing there. So I think, you know, what you're talking about too is so, particularly when we look at what we are going through right now, with everything that is being brought, you know, brought up to be addressed and to be recognized. And, you know, you mentioned colonization, you know, these are this part of the things that have probably touched almost every land of the planet, really. It is a time of great healing and an opportunity for something new to emerge.
Yeah, it is. I think, and I share this with song because I have to share it in song.
Yeah, beautiful.
And I will share it with you in song.
Thank you.
This is our partnership alive in Erin and I, and this is the work we do. And it sounds like this. Hear us cry out, hear our people cry out, hear us cry out, hear our people cry out. We the people of the land, mourn her taken from our hands. We cry out, but the day comes when the shadows they shall pass. Yes, the day comes when the shadows they shall pass. When the white man's hand no longer hides the face of our mother from our eyes. So we rise up to be who we truly are. Yes, we rise up to be who we truly are. Not what the white man made us, but as our spirit moves us, freedom.
It's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Well, I'm sitting here with, I'm clearly non-Indigenous. My heritage is Australian. I'm born in Australia, but my heritage is Lebanese. And I sit here on Yagambeh land, and this poster behind me comes from 1993, which was actually the International Year of the World's Indigenous People. So yeah. We're on our way. And
we are.
Yeah.
We are all rising.
Yeah.
Because our spirit moves us to. And that's what this, and that is the liberating work of this, of Bert's legacy. And my mother wrote that song in 1982, and they were part of the 1993 Renaissance. So
Okay.
she wrote 25-year-old woman. So thank you for weaving that. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you. I think when we were talking, we were saying that what you and Erin will be presenting and what Susan Altweger will be presenting are both very much aligned in terms of, you know, this emerging future. And and again, you know, it's that when we belong to ourselves, then we can belong to our community, to country, to the world. So I think it's going to be a really beautiful conference, and this will be a wonderful experience for people to join in. And you know, I really honor the partnership that you and Erin have formed and what you've been doing together. And you know, it's very exciting, beautiful work.
And the healing part of this work, and with Erin, you know, and the partnership we've created, and I believe it is the true spirit of the treaty we signed. And it is that we are not just this and we are not just that, but there is a separateness that must occur, a rebalancing that is occurring here in Aotearoa. However, it feels right that at times we can surrender the lifting, whether as treaty partners of the liberation of spirit together, because it is held. It is deeper, but not just one. It is deeper, it is held, the heaviness is held lightly as we open and surrender and allow all to come into space for ourselves. So that is what I love in this work, and it simply looks like we can represent for both sides and all sides of this war, of the war that has occurred, to then find ourselves. And we say in our culture, who am I? Ko wai o. And in our language, ko wai o is very literally, I am water. And that's who I am. And where there is water, that is where I belong, in a mountain. So thank you.
Well, here in Australia today, we are very aware of water. We have got more water than we can possibly use. Yeah. Pare, I think that, you know, there was something else in there that I just wanted to acknowledge, but I think this is going to be a beautiful presentation, a beautiful opportunity for people to engage in. And, you know, I honor and thank you for the work that you're both doing. And I think what was very obvious to me as you're speaking is how it, you know, how embodied your words are, how much this is who you are. So, yeah. Okay. All right. Is there anything else you'd like people to know today before we finish?
Well, my t-shirt says it all, really. It says now is the time.
Thank you. Good. Most definitely is. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay.